Iran has now confirmed the assassination of its top naval chief in a deadly Israeli strike that could reshape the conflict. As the IRGC vows revenge for Tangsiri, is this war now about to take an even deadlier turn? Could Israel's assassinations of top Iranian officials now trigger consequences that begin to backfire strategically? After mocking US jet losses, Iran is now openly threatening American and Israeli forces across the Gulf. Iran has confirmed the assassination of its IRGC Navy commander, Alireza Tangsiri. According to the IRGC, Alireza Tangsiri was killed in a targeted Israeli airstrike carried out between March the 25th and 26th. The IRGC said Tangsiri later succumbed to wounds sustained in that Israeli strike. The naval commander had been responsible for Iran's operations in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's elite forces issued a statement on March 30th to formally confirm the Navy chief's death. The IRGC also vowed to continue its military campaign despite losing one of its key naval commanders. The IRGC said, and I quote, "This fighter in the path of Allah, and the great hero in the sacred defense, after nearly half a century of continuous jihad, has joined the master of martyrs." Admiral Martyr Alireza Tangsiri, whose martyrdom came after the harsh strikes that led to the destruction of an important enemy facilities and infrastructure and the downing of an American aircraft, has ascended to meet Allah, succumbing to his wounds while organizing forces and strengthening defenses on the islands and coasts that were targeted by the enemies. Our people are accustomed to such sacrifices, and they know that the front, which did not stop with the departure of the greatest leaders but rather grew stronger, will continue its path steadily even with the martyrdom of the field commanders. As the IRGC Navy forces have proven these days through their continuous strikes and their control of the Strait of Hormuz arena. This force, which has previously confronted the operations of major powers and broken their prestige in escorting oil tankers, and arrested American and British soldiers in the past, continues its path today, as every fighter within it is a new Tangsiri." End quote. On March 26, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said the IRGC Navy commander had been eliminated. Katz also claimed that other commanders were killed alongside Tangsiri in the airstrikes. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Tangsiri's death aligned with shared war goals between Israel and the United States.
"We continue to forcefully attack the targets of the Iranian terror regime. Last night, we eliminated the commander of the Revolutionary Guard's Navy. This man has a lot of blood on his hands, and he was also the one who led the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. This is another example of the cooperation between us and our friends, the United States, with a shared goal of achieving the objectives of the war."
Tonight, the IDF eliminated the commander of the Revolutionary Guard's Navy in a precise and deadly operation, along with senior naval commanders. The man directly responsible for the terrorist operation of mining and blocking the Strait of Hormuz to shipping has been eliminated. This is a clear message to all senior officials of the Iranian terrorist organizations. To the Revolutionary Guards who currently rule Iran, the IDF will hunt and eliminate you one by one. Congratulations to the IDF for the perfect execution. This is also important news for all our American partners, as an expression of the IDF's assistance in opening the Strait of Hormuz and the historic partnership between U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, between the two countries and between the two armies. We continue to operate in Iran with full force and all our might to achieve the goals of the war.
Tangsiri's death comes during a broader wave of high-profile assassinations attributed to Israel. On March 29th, Iran threatened to target the residences of American and Israeli officials in the Gulf. Iran's Khatam al-Anbiya said US and Israeli officials were now on its list for retaliatory strikes.
In the name of God, the distributor of power, considering the evils and terrorist actions of the American Zionist enemies and targeting the homes of the people of Iran in various cities, the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran, in a retaliatory measure, will target the residences of commanders and political officials of America and the Zionist regime in the region and occupied territories. And there is no power except with God, the Almighty, the Wise.
Another senior IRGC commander also claimed that Iran would paralyze US radar networks in the Gulf. Saeed Majid Musavi of the Aerospace Force further warned that more attacks would follow against US forces. The commander then reportedly taunted the United States by referring to Iranian attacks on the KC-135 and the E-3 Sentry. Mousavi also said Iran's intelligence superiority would leave the United States with no choice but to retreat from the region. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump is continuing to push for a ceasefire arrangement with Iran. On March 29th, Trump said both direct and indirect talks were taking place with Iran. The US president, however, declined to say whether a ground invasion was imminent. Trump also claimed that Iran was allowing more than 20 oil vessels through as talks continued. The US president further said that a deal with Iran could come as soon as next week.
Hello, everybody.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
So we've had very good negotiations today with Iran, getting a lot of the things that they should have given us a long time ago. We'll see how it works out, but they're very good. Moving along very nicely. They've destroyed a lot of additional targets today. The Navy's gone, the Air Force has gone, we know that. But we destroyed many targets today. It was a big day. And we are negotiating with them directly and indirectly. We have emissaries, but we also are dealing directly. And as you know, they've agreed to send 8 boats 2 days ago, and then they added another 2, so it was 10 boats. And now today they gave us as a tribute, I don't know, I can't define it exactly, but they gave us, I think out of a sign of respect, 20 boats of oil, big boats of oil, going through the Hormuz Strait. And that's taking place starting tomorrow morning. Over the next couple of days, a lot of boats. And I would only say that we're doing extremely well in that negotiation. You never know with Iran because we negotiate with them and then we always have to blow them up. Whether it's the B-2 bombers or just terminating, as an example, the Iran nuclear deal done by Barack Hussein Obama, probably the worst deal we've ever done as a country, one of the dumbest deals we've ever done. But I terminated it, unfortunately, otherwise right now they'd have a nuclear weapon. Then we did the attack with the B-2 bombers and we stopped them from having nuclear. And now we had to blow them up again. And we will probably, I think we'll make a deal with them, pretty sure. Whether it's possible, we won't. But we've had regime change, if you look already, because the one regime was decimated, destroyed, they're all dead. The next regime is mostly dead.
Deal in Iran this upcoming week.
Say it?
Sir, could you foresee a deal in Iran this upcoming week?
I do see a deal in Iran, yeah.
Mr. President,
Could be soon.
are you considering still putting boots on the ground, and would you do that without going to
I
Congress?
just have lots of alternatives. We have tremendous numbers of ships over there. We don't need them all because of, the power. Look, I would say we're just like we're ahead of schedule on the ballroom. In a much bigger way, we're ahead of schedule with Iran. We're weeks ahead of schedule. If you would have said that in 3 days we were going to knock out 158 ships, their entire Navy, which we did. We knocked out their entire Air Force. We knocked out most of their missiles. That's why you see missile attacks, but they're down to they're sputtering. And we have a group, it's really a new regime. It's a group of people that we've never dealt with before, that are acting very reasonable. It is truly regime change.
Is Committee's son still alive, sir? Is he a part of these
We think he
conversations?
may be, nobody's heard about him. He may be alive, but he's obviously very seriously in trouble. He's seriously wounded.
You had offered that 15-point plan to Iran. Did they ever come back with
Yeah,
a
they
response?
came back on the
What did
15-point
they
plan.
say?
They gave us most of the points. Why wouldn't they?
And you make it sound like they made some concessions. Can you identify those?
Well, they're agreeing with us on the plan. I mean, we asked for 15 things, and for the most part, we're going to be asking for a couple of other things. And just to prove that they're serious, they gave us all these boats. When I talked about 4 days ago a present, I said they gave me a present, but I didn't think I was at liberty to say what it was. What it was 8 plus 2. It's 10 massive boatloads of oil. And today they gave us another present. They gave us 20 boatloads of oil. That starts being shipped tomorrow. We're having very good meetings, both directly and indirectly, and I think we're getting a lot of very important points.
Sir, were you caught off guard when the Senate passed the DHS funding bill?
It's a shame. They should really just go to a filibuster. They should terminate the filibuster,
And will you compare?
and they should vote. That's what I think. Look, I think the Senate is playing They're playing it too soft. The Republicans are wonderful people, but we're dealing with very sick individuals. The Democrats are sick. There's something wrong. They're like terrorists. And we have to protect our country. We have to protect our border. We have to protect our wall.